Shirley here with Jupiter Point of Talis, and this is a special episode. I saw that my traffickers mindset versus wealth mindset episodes were successful, and now with Mercury and Venus retrograde in Aries, it's a great time to continue on these series. And I'd like to talk about things I've learned escaping trafficking that are useful for everyday relationships regardless of your gender. So let's begin. Well, the first thing is knowing your natal chart. There's a lot of things that the periscopes, even if we take out all manipulation, what is accessible to each and every profession, okay, psychology, psychiatry, welfare, policing, military, okay, all those things are fields that a person studies those fields, and they are seeing the world from the perspective of those fields. So this is a very enlightening, okay, to have additional perspective, and a very important. Another perspective is astrology, because astrology can tell you something that none of these other fields can tell you. A lot of people would ask you, why are you drawn to power where your natal chart is simply including Pluto in the partner related significations? So you are a powerful person and you're drawn to powerful figures. Or why do you draw the wrong type of a woman or the wrong type of a man? Well, one thing I learned from deceased assassinated Nicholas Stoyanovich is descendant degree. The descendant degree tells you a lot about your partner. So let's say you have Piscean degree, like a 12 or a 24. That would be also your ascendant. And that means your partner is affiliated with something Piscean. So he could be intelligence, and he could be in secret society. And so if this is something about the partner, so you want to address it on the level of how do we do intelligence, how do we do networking, and when you act in favor of those things, you are improving upon your relationships, but you also are addressing the issue at the level that it is, because otherwise there are a lot of desires from those societies that you will single out your partner and say is narcissist, is this, is that, and then you go to next partner, and in a different way it's the same version. So a psychologist would say, well, look into yourself, and there are a lot of great things about loving yourself, being optimistic, and so on. But then there are things that are to do with what is the field, what are the issues that are with your partner. You will see it in your natal chart before you read composite and synastry. And that, when you begin to tend to that, and it depends on the planet that it rules. If it's Saturn, maybe 28, maybe 36. If it's Pluto, maybe your 40s. Neptune, okay, again. Uranus, in mid-40s. You have Uranus opposition. And it doesn't mean that you will not have partner before that, but it definitely means that those are times, significant times, where you get the chance to learn about what the actual issue is. Usually it's a crisis. It's a crisis point in life, but the liberation part is you stop blaming yourself and you stop blaming your partner, and you start tending to the necessary changes. And also with outer planets, it is time in society to tend to this. Right now, Neptune is going to ingress to Aries, so we're going to have what was global is going to be divided. What was divided might unionize, and there are new ways. We're going to do intelligence, military, new ways, medicine, new ways, even psychiatry, okay, all these things, but also organized crime and drugs and stuff like that. Okay, so new schemes, but also new opportunities and new ways to define things. And so that know thyself part is something that you hardly get from anywhere else on that level. It's important to know psychology. It's important to know coaching, okay, or have good mindset. It's important to address the issues in spirituality, okay, what our gurus, our teachers, they were also in these secret societies. They were also victims of many things, and they also had biases. And sometimes they had to perpetuate on many things, okay? So there's a reason why you would see certain fields of study turn the focus on for the individual excessively or on society excessively. Okay, we want to have points of interferences as well. And that leads me, okay, after we went through that hoop, that leads me to the next point. And this is about cheating. So when you want to learn about life, usually in medicine, you learn how people die, because this tells you what, okay? It tells you about life, right? When you want to learn about successful relationships, you learn about divorces, and whether it's from divorce lawyers or astrologers, because this is the same planet as Uranus. Right now, for example, Uranus is going over Beta Persei, and a lot of divorces are as a result of different perceptions regarding the psychic sphere. It can even be, it doesn't necessarily mean religion, but it's the sphere of spirit and the matter. And as we change our perception regarding the balance of spirit and matter, sometimes things that didn't matter to us, okay, matter, or matter matters, but also spirit matters, and how we balance this can be the cause of divorce for people. It can simply mean, as you know, for example, I'm in a demonstration and I'm sleeping in a tent. And so I find that I sleep so good in a tent, okay? And so in the past I would be afraid, let's say, to go on vacation or something like that, and to sleep in a tent, how will I sleep? And so on. And so I sleep very good in a tent in a good weather. But other people can find that when COVID, for example, I had to be in lockdown in one room apartment. I said, what do I need more? And I dedicated all the money for my business and to grow myself, education and so on. And so I slept in one room apartment, then I was in lockdown for 2 weeks, twice. I understood that I need bigger apartment. So divorces can happen as a result of both material and spiritual things, but also what is the opinion or how is practically a person dealing with a person that had a boundary violation, like a sexual boundary violation. Things to do with military operations or governmental operations that tend to the nervous system of people or the target individuals. It's not just MK Ultras, all these things together. And so when you learn about a divorce, then you learn about many things. For example, prenuptial sounds like a great idea. I saw just this week 2 cases. One woman, even though she had prenuptial, she said, no, I want a part of the apartment. Things change, okay? Another case was that the person, in this case it was a woman, can be a man, was not shown the prenuptial. So it's not informed consent, okay? So it's invalid prenuptial if you don't see it. And so those things are very, very relevant when it comes to relationships, yes, in general. You want to understand how do I secure my independence, and contracts might not be reliable. Okay, both because if a contract was fake, okay, it was not for the actual contract, that it was never valid to begin with. And also because you say, but there's contract, and then somebody takes you to court, even though there is contract. That is something that we need to think about, how we address. More things I learned, but they have to do with all the values that we talk about, like loving yourself, good boundaries. So good boundaries is something you have naturally. You need to return to yourself and have it naturally. And what is engineering your not being in your boundaries is something that, yes, it could be to do with trafficking, but it is in essence something that's not healthy relationship. The problem is not you don't have boundaries. The problem is that you are in situation, maybe your working situation, maybe your networking, maybe rituals you have to do, maybe things you went through in childhood that are engineering situation that you would go out to your boundaries. It's not just for women. Oppressed and oppressed, it's like two sides of the same coin. It's basically moving people away from love. And so holding place of love is something that's also important, to hold boundaries. And in that regard, you begin to pay attention when somebody approaches you with a way that is not of love, okay, to try to take away from your boundaries. It doesn't matter, it's not necessarily having to be trafficking situation, but also know that you could be dating a partner, very successful, very loving, very caring, and they have to do business, and some of this business is trafficking. So in this case, we have to change for the fact that in their line of business, this is business that they are forced to do. Yes? And in that case, you would meet very loving person, and you might notice for, I'm sorry, I'm speaking taboo topics, your consecrations, for secretions. Whether it's semen or for the vagina, is not good. You begin to tend to that, and you see first of all how you pleasure yourself, what your boundaries, what you orgasm from, is very important for the health of your nervous system. And of course, your nutrition is going to be easier to access and upkeep good nutrition when you tend to these things. What dissolves blockages. So some secret societies can put courses on people. Maybe some social engineer or try to frame you in certain ways. Energy. Okay, when you feel the energy is not supportive of good intimacy, good secretions, then you understand it's not good. And it's not about the blame. Say, well, for me, I cannot be in relationship healthy with such thing. And for many people, because we are indoors, they might divorce because of this. Yes, you begin to treat, and if you see blockages to something you try to treat, keeping you away from treating yourself, from accessing good food or hygiene or something like that, then you know it's a problem. And don't blame immediately your partner, because it can be that they would go to torture if they get out of this. So what's the more we raise awareness that those things and those rituals are harming human lives. And it's true for any relationship. Your partner can be doctor, your partner can be businessman, your partner can be working in corporation, okay, or military person, or even artist, yes, or all of these things. And both partner, both man, both woman, okay, we have. And those things are affecting for both of your lives. And second, but not second, another thing is relationship is a we. Is a partnership. What's important is both for you, your own mindset, you enter a we. In that way, we maintain a sovereignty, and the set of my being able to be authentically me and you being able to be authentically you, the set of things we're able to do with those conditions is our relationship. whether we can do business, whether we can do great sex, whether we can do traveling, whether we can do a creative thing, or family, okay? But all these things, and what's outside of this set is independent. Whether you like it or not, Uranus will also bring those cheatings. Let's say you have to do business that is monkey business, okay? And you're happily married, supportive relationship. It will affect the creativity of you and your partner. Not the fertility, but definitely the creativity. Then suddenly you're attracted to someone who is expressing their creative side. And they might not even be with the same type of looks or anything like that. It's something unusual. And then it doesn't compile. You try to say, oh, this is side chick, this is that. No, it doesn't compile. Why? Because for both of you, for all of you to get out of the situation, you need to remove the situation. You have to do monkey business because your wealth is not compiling. And then for this lady that you'd call whatever, lover, mistress, or I don't know, then she wants a man that does not do all this business. She can hang out with you and maybe she gives you chances and maybe this man wants to go out of this business. But your spouse thinks, what is going on? Is my man not usual? Or suddenly you look better and so on. But she maybe is not aware of what the business that you do. It could be same situation with woman and two men, okay? And until you don't find way out of having to do those business, you will continue not to be able to be monogamous, even if monogamy is very important to you. And this is why I say the set of things that I authentically can be myself and you authentically can be yourself, the set of things we could do is a relationship. What's outside of this set, we do with other people, whether it's business, whether it's sex. But even with that, does not mean that with the unhealthy things can take place, because they affect everyone, all of our network, all the people we do business with, the people we're in bed with, the people we have relationships with. All of this affect all of our conglomerate network. It's energy, it's nervous system, and that's Uranus. And so, but this is also point of interference, because when you set intention, it affects the nervous system. Okay, it changes things up. And so when there is an issue of cheating, or not necessarily cheating, attraction outside of connection, don't dismiss it as side piece. This is trafficker language. Because for trafficker, they say they sell options. But the person see themselves as option, then they are traded. But this is human trafficking, is trying to justify something in essence not true. Because this person, but either they need to love themselves and so on, but also it can be that they love themselves perfectly, but they still don't find the partner, and they try to see, why am I drawn to this person? And they say, I like this person, I'm supposed to be with partner in that field or in that, okay, doing these things, but for they have to do human trafficking, or they have to do drug trafficking, or they have to do with other monkey business. They say, I don't want that. Now what do I do? So what people you call that outside, the not committed partner, will say, I cannot find partner. A lot of people are single. Even politicians, even Annika Lucas suggested she's satanic ritual abuse survivor. And she said a lot of people, they are single, they don't have children. At least they don't have children, even if married, they don't have children. Because those issues that infiltrate in for our economy, for politics, and harm, and if you are in a natal chart where your partner or you're supposed to be in that field, then you will see that it's a problem, okay? And so this brings me to the next point, which is just like no classy woman will say a woman is whore, even on another woman. Let's say your partner cheated with someone, okay? No classy woman would say, oh, she's like this, she's like that, she's like that. You might emphasize and say that I'm having my choices in life, okay? But at the same time, no single woman is something you, and it's also that I think it's easier to be single woman in terms of like your reputation than single man. A woman, even you're married, you're not married, if people want to say things, they will say things. It's challenging when it comes to livelihood, or when it comes to residence. It's very challenging, it's a problem. But when it comes to reputation, single man, usually a lot of men pay for escort because of these things. And I will talk about this, but is what I have to say about single, both for single woman, single man. If there's a reason you're single, that's to do with, I don't want my children to be taken to, or that would risk my children to be in that position, or it would risk my partner to be in that position, it is okay to say that. Because they target whatever they say about person is single is true to the married person as well. And they say things all the way through. Then there are things that if you already have to do, businesses that are not okay, then is less ability to respond. But for women, again, if you're single, because you said, well, my potential partner, they would be in position where they would have to run petering. I don't want that. Any man that would be in the line of what my ascendant, my descendant, what my seventh house, what a set of things, a set of opportunities, then they deal with those and those problems. We need to solve those problems on a societal level. So happy marriages can be. So I'm single. Yes, I can say this about myself. And so that brings me, even to the next point. And this is for the standards of actual relationship, especially when you've been single a lot. Then you have to understand that you are man or woman, because it applies to both or to gender, okay? You're not escort. You are a person, a woman, a partner, a man, two gender, okay? Gender not conforming, okay? You are a partner. So, what the standards of escorts, okay, escort, for example, they have to show to events, and they have to look the best, and that there is a different standard. So when it comes to, it's important to look your best, or to put makeup if you like, or not put makeup. Okay, I'm in demonstration. If I would put makeup, it would look like a cake. Okay, because I genuinely am all day here. I'm not. If that was like people are escort, you go with 5 minutes, and then you go back to the AC. It's different standards. Your upkeeping. So this is also important for you to understand for yourself, and also when you seek a partner. Okay, being able to spend a night in a tent in the woods and travel is perhaps more important than having a wrinkle here or there, or you want to be happy with a person. And so you would see that people who are used to be with escorts, and again, we're not blaming here. They're used to something, they are very accentuated on the representation and representative, but they can forget that this is also a person you want to spend your life with. So to be representative, you will never be, if you're not professionally doing like escort, you will never be in that. I see women that are in espionage, or that were in escort. I know it's not the same. I can put on some makeup, I can put on some this. It's not the same level. Yes, but when it comes to my intimacy, with my fluids, with my sexual health, is of course it's different. Yes, and this is something that is, I would want for these women to have access to that as well, and for these men to have access to that as well. And so you have to understand you date a human being. Yeah, with all that entails. And when you date or something like that, you see the people you used to be with, um, yes, with escorts, okay, then it's certain things they would not mind, certain things they would mind that are different. So, yes, without blaming anyone, this is important for you because, first of all, it's not about shaming or blaming. People are usually in those situations because of cult. And then the issue is the cult. It's not the man or what his habits or what is this or what is that, but the things that with intimate relationship you need to be able to discuss. And they say, what about if my partner is spy? They have to keep secret. They have to this. They have to that. Well, it's a question. First of all, with the age of Pluto Aquarius, there's a lot more transparency. Neptune Aries, we're going to be doing those professions differently, and every person has what matters to them. But you have to understand with those secrets, every person has their private things. But when it comes to completely secret, then, my darling, they have to do monkey business. And this is where you need to understand what is the line of business if you want to be included, because that is your investments. When you think about your children, the trust funds, or whatever you're going to build future together, this is the line of business. What do you marry? It has certain karmas, certain implications, certain things, and if you don't know, then what the business is, then you don't know. And then taking on, and this is another thing. A person that sees you as person that yes, put to marry, they would talk to you about money, business, lineage, the things that. And I tell you, even if they are in certain lines of business, they will not hide because you're the partner. They want to spend a life with you. Okay? And this is very important when you address this and when you see, because you could be completely shocked. Okay, you could be completely shocked that you address this on level of, if you don't date with this partner, what the line of business, okay? So let's say you go back to your chart. But in my chart, the partner would be, I don't know, in this line, or military or this or that. Well, in this line right now, it works like this, that they have to do certain things. And for me, it's difficult to find partner. You don't go against the person or against, because first of all, it's not a problem of the person. And you need to understand this, why I recommend listening to ritual abuse survivors. Okay, and this is quite important. And but then, if person is trying to traffic, they don't get that. You know, they don't get that, because if they've been dishonest with you, and they try to trade you, and they try to trick you, and they try to manipulate you, then they're basically ruining your name. Because behind your back they're doing spin campaign to play or frame your name. They don't get protection for their name. It is also important to understand that there is a part of, but a bigger thing, and that it's not about a crusade on anybody's name. It's more but understanding that, hey, you look at your natal chart, what would be with the partner. So this is knowledge that can get you back to what you call your dignity. Because in torture, they do things, but to both men, women, hermaphrodites, that try to take away the person's dignity. As Annika Lucas said, with the first you victim, then they tell you to hurt other people, then you lose with the sense of self that you're a good person, because now you have to hurt. and basically they try to make you to lose your dignity, and only the children that do go through this, they survive, unless they're smuggled outside, and or somehow survive the assassination where they learned too much. So this is something that affects a lot of lines of work, and it affects a lot of our relationships. But just those things I learned, okay, with escape trafficking, that are very important to a lot of people's relationships. They can be a source of both healing, curation, liberation, opening points of interferences to have good relations.